Ooh, it feels good, doesn't it? To sing, to move, to dance, to be together once again. Just take in that good feeling because it's been a long time. Page 152, we'll continue quietly and then we'll sing together again. תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאירי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע. תתברך We'll join together at the arrows on 153.
כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים באימה וביראה רצון קונה, וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים. השם האל המלך, הגדול הגיבור, הנורא הקדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם ומלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה, ובנימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים, ואומרים ביראה. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. והאלפנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול, מנשאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו. לאל ברוך נעימות איתנו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכחו לנו מחברה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Page 151. Love is the give and take of care between one and another. Right? The mutual care and concern that we have for one another is a defining marker of love. And we sing in the same way, a call and response, a back and forth. In the practice of singing together, in the practice of praying together, we learn a muscle memory for how we interact with other people, a give and take. So let's sing together and sing with Danny and Olivia, with Rebecca, page 154. Bring us together from the four corners of the earth, just as we bring together the four corners of our talit. Page 154.
Israel, ובקומך, ושרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך.
Adonai Elechem Emet V'yatziv Nachon V'kayam V'ashav V'neman V'ahuv V'aviv Nechman 157 Ledor Vador Hu Kayam U'shmo Kayam V'chisa Nachon U'malchuto V'emunato Le'ad Kayamet U'dvarav Chayim Kayimim Nemanim Nechmadim Le'ad Olamei Olamim Alavotinu V'aleinu B'aleinu Emet Shatarun Eloheinu Velohei Avotenu Malkeinu Melech Avotenu Go'aleinu Go'el Avotenu Yotzreinu Tzu Yeshuatenu Vodeinu Matzilenu Melam Shemecha Ein Elohim Zulatecha Ezrat Avotenu Atahun Elam. Continue quietly through 157. In a few moments, we'll join together at the arrows on 158.
Tehillah le'el elyon, Baruch hu u'mevorach, Moshe u'Miriam, u'bnei Yisrael, lechanu shira.
page 159. We begin with the words at the top of the page. We ask that God open our lips and allow us to pray. Page 159 at the top.
Adonai, Sephatai Tiftach, Ufi Agi, Tehilatecha, Adonai, Sephatai Tiftach, Ufi Agi, Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Yekonei Hakol, V'zofer Chasei Avot, V'mei Goel Livnei B'neihem, V'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer V'Moshiach Malkei. Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, Ufoked Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim atah Rav V'Hoshia. Mashiv haruach u'moriv hagashem, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayei metim berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofeh cholim, u'matir asurim, u'mekayem emunato b'shemei afar. Mocha ba'al kevurot, umido melech, melech memid u'mechayev, u'matzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah lecha chayot mitim. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hametim.
Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, kishem shemachdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv al yad nevi'echa, v'karazel ze v'amar.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech ha'aretz kevodo.
Az b'kol ra'ash gadol, adir v'chazak mashmi'im kol, Minasim lumat serafim, lumatam baruch yomeru.
Baruch kevod Adonai bimkomo.
Bimkomcha malkeinu tofia v'timloch aleinu, kimechakim anachnu lach. Matai timloch b'tzion b'karov b'yameinu, le'olam v'ayet tishkon. Titgadal v'titgadash b'toch Yerushalayim yircha. Lidor vador l'netzach netzachim.
Ve'einu tirena malchutecha.
tzidkecha.
Yimloch Adonai Elolam, Elohai Etzion, L'dor v'dor, Hallelujah. L'dor v'dor, nagid Godlecha, U'lenetzach netzachim, kedushat hanakdish. L'dor v'dor, nagid Godlecha, U'lenetzach netzachim, kedushat hanakdish. Shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu, lo yamush le'olam va'ed. El melech hadol v'kadosh ata. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Yismach Moshe v'manatecho. יתקרא ויקרא שמי רבי, עלמא דברי חירתי, וימליך מלכותי, ויחון ומכון, ויחיה לכל בישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לעולם היה, יתברך וישתבח, ויפעם וירמה מנסה, ויתדע ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה, ברכו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות כהן ובת כהן, דכל ישראל, קדם אבהון דבשמיא, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen. Good morning, everyone. Shabbat shalom. We're going to remain standing just for a moment because we're going to bring the Torah out, and then we're on page 168, and we'll start our Torah service.
So we have a couple audios left, if anybody's like that. If you want one, you don't have anything particular to say today, you can just share your favorite Thanksgiving tradition or your favorite Thanksgiving side dish.
Nice.
All the above.
All right, page 168.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני ואין כמושך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל תורתו אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן אדוני יברך דמו בשלום Torah, Torah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Well, have a seat. Those of you at home, get your second or third cup of coffee. I think to be fair, we should be serving coffee here too. Yeah, maybe some treats too, and we can have a casual, we can bring a little bit of the home experience of pandemic services back into shul. Maybe that's one thing that we can bring back from this experience of doing services from afar. Anyway, it is so good. This is the first time that I'm leading Shir Chadash, really since the High Holy Days, I guess, maybe at least a couple of months. It is great to see you all, those of you that are here in person, and I hope that as we continue to take responsible steps toward reintegration and gathering together, that we can continue to do this because it feels very good to be together with people and to just encounter other human beings in the world. Today, the theme that we're going to talk about a little bit later after our Torah reading is the theme of encounter with the other. Just as Jacob wrestles with a mysterious other, every confrontation that we have, every time that we come face to face with another human being or with another sentient creature with a neshama, the philosopher Levinas says that we enter into a relationship of responsibility and obligation immediately. The moment you confront another human being, all of a sudden, all of their needs, all of their desires, your desires and needs, your place in the world all come into question. And you must confront the other with a sense of responsibility and concern, right? And from that flows all of ethics, says Levinas, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to read our Torah reading, and I invite you to follow along through this story of Jacob confronting the other. That's at the beginning of the parsha. We're reading in the third part of the triennial cycle. So we're going to start in our Chumashim here in chapter 35, verse 16. And those of you following at home, it's Genesis 35, 16. In our Chumash here, that's on page 188. It is, we really appreciate Shira and Scott Miller are reading Torah this morning. Are they here? Oh, hi, Scott. Good morning. And let's begin. Who is our first Aliyah? Oh, hi, good morning, guys. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, we need to find your place. Yeah. Go ahead and I'll help you out in a minute if you need it. All right. And, of course, we're going to invite you guys to say a few words, to offer some words of blessing or personal words to the congregation. Ve'ya'azor ve'yagen v'chol choshim ve'ya'azor ve'yagen ve'yoshia l'chol chosim bo v'nomar amen. Hakol havgodel Eloheinu utznu chavod laTorah ya'amdu. Michael ben Ilan ve'et Naomi Sarah bat Brina Le'aliyah Rishona Baruch Shnatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato Ve'atem Advikim B'Adonai Elohechem Chaim Kulchem Hayom.
Honored to take this aliyah for a couple reasons. One, in memory of my father, his yard site, which was now 17 years ago when he passed on. And also, as we are taking our first real post or late COVID journey to visit with my sisters to be able to celebrate Thanksgiving next week. So we're just thrilled to be able to finally, and we think safely, take that trip.
if you don't recognize us with masks, Mike and Nancy Worsman.
Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself.
I also want to give thanks that Mike had surgery on both feet 3.5 weeks ago, and it was supposed to be months and months before he could get back on his feet, but
First day out.
first day out. And he actually did something we never thought he could, which is he stayed off his feet for 3 weeks, and that made all the difference. So give thanks for the fact that he's back and he's up and he's healthy. Where? No, where? Baruch
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayizu mi Beit El, vayi od kivrat haaretz lavo Ephrata, vateled Rachel vatkash belita, vayihi v'hakshota belita, vatomer la hamyaledet al tiri ki gam zalach ben, vayehi betzeit nafsha ki meta vatikra shemo ben oni, vaviv karalo Binyamin, vatamat Rachel vatikaver b'derech Ephrata, hi Beit Lachem, Vayatsev Yaakov matzava al kvarata, hi matzavet kvarat Rachel ad hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. Hi, Janie. Ta'amod. Chaya Mishka bat Shmuel, Shanit, and Janie, we're asking you to speak up right into the mic here.
Okay. Hi, I'm Janie Rosenbaum, and I took this aliyah today because my father is going to turn 100 on Monday. So, unfortunately, he can't be here today, but we're going to celebrate this weekend. So, Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Vayisa Yisrael vayet ahalo mahala lemigdal eder. Vayehi bishkan Yisrael ba'aretz hahi vayelech Reuven. Vayishkav et bilha pilega shaviv vayishma Yisrael. Vayihiyu b'nei Yaakov shnei masar. B'nei Leah b'hor Yaakov Reuven. V'Shimon v'Levi v'Yehuda v'Yisachar u'Zevulun. B'nei Rachel Yosef u'Binyamin. U'b'nei Bilha shivchat Rachel Dan u'Naftali. U'b'nei Zilpah shivchat Leah Gad v'Asher. Ela b'nei Yaakov asher yulad lo b'fadan aram.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notal b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. David. Ya'amod.
David ben Lev Bisharon.
David ben Levi Sharon Shlishi.
Hi, my name is David Fennell. Shabbat Shalom. Thanksgiving for being here at Shir and having it up and running again. It's so wonderful to be able to daven with all of you again. And also because we're expecting our second grandchild in a few weeks, but Our daughter-in-law is in the hospital a little early, so just praying that everything goes well. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. We are on chapter 35, verse 27.
Amen. Vayavo Yaakov el Yitzhak Aviv, Mamre Kiryat Arba, Yi Hebron asher gar sham Avraham v'Yitzhak, Vayihiyu Yimei Yitzhak, Ma'at Shana Ushmanim Shana, Vayigva Yitzhak, Vayamat, Vayesef el Amav, Zaken Usva Yamim, Vayikbru Oto, Esav Yaakov, Banav.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. David,
Are we doing the thing here?
yeah, you can stay up here, and actually, I think this would be a good time to pause for Misha Berach for Cholim, and we'll include your daughter-in-law.
Thank you.
And all those in need of healing. So if you have names to add to the blessing, we'll ask you to please rise as we sing a Misha Berach together.
Ana elna.
Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak veYaakov ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yevarech v'rapeh et Emily bat Larry v'Cheryl ve'et Abraham ben Edith Leah bat Leah Avraham Miriam Yael Chaya bat Sarah.
Layla bat Adam v'Zayit.
הקדושה הזאת, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחזיקם ולרבותם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף בתוך שאר החולים, ויחזק ידידי העוסקים בצרכיכם, שבאתם לזעוק רפואה קרובה לבוא, השבג עליו בזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. May God, who brought healing to our ancestors, bring healing to all in need. And let us say amen. Are we in the fourth Aliyah? Yes. Beginning of chapter 36. And who's taking the fourth Aliyah? Oh, okay. Ya Amdu. Keren bat Rafael ve'Esti ve'et Levi ben Robert, Le'Aliyah Revi'it. Come on forward here, introduce yourselves, and feel free to share a few words.
Hi, this is Karen, and I'm Aaron Sturtz. We moved to Salt Lake City last year and moved back. And while we were there, we streamed services from HEA, and we missed HEA dearly, especially Shir Hadash, and we are so grateful to be here in person with all of you today. Thank you. Thank
Welcome
you.
back. Shkoch. All right, we're at the beginning of chapter 36, 192 in our books.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
אמן. ואלה תולדות עשיו הוא אדום. עשיו לקח את נשיו מבנות כנען, את עדה בת אלון חכיתי, ואת אהליבמה בת ענה בת ציבון חכיבי, ואת בסמת בת ישמעאל אחות נוויות. ותלד עדה לעשיו את אליפז, ובסמת ילדה את ראואל, והאהליבמה ילדה את יאוש ואת ילם ואת קורח. אלה בני עשיו אשר יולדו לו בארץ כנען.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם, נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Come on over here. And for the fifth aliyah, Ta'amod. Sarah bat Chaim V'Leah, Chamishit.
Hi, I'm Sarah Fenn, and I am home visiting from Washington, D.C. This is my first year Hadash in several years, and it's nice to see everyone here and be in person as well.
Nice to have you.
Thank you. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach. Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch eta Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch eta Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ויקח עשיו את נשיו, ואת בניו, ואת בנותיו, ואת כל נפשות ביתו, ואת מקנהו, ואת כל בהמתו, ואת כל קניינו אשר רכש בארץ כנען, וילך אל ארץ מפני יעקב אחיו. כי היה רכושם רב משבט יחדיו, ולא יכלה ארץ מגוריהם לשאת אותם מפני מקניהם. וישב עשיו בהר שעיר, עשיו הוא אדום.
Baruch eta Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch eta Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. Let's see, we are on verse 9 and 6th aliyah. Ta'amod.
Esther and Shlomo.
Esther bat Shlomo. Shishit.
Hi, I'm Eileen Fisher, and I'm just celebrating today, and I'm grateful to be living here with my son, and my other son is moving here and his family. So it's just a blessing to be in the same town with my kids.
And you all should know Eileen moved here during the pandemic as well. She moved from New York and really would love to meet more people because moving during a pandemic is not easy. So introduce yourself and later and spend some time at Kiddush. We're on, let's see, we're on chapter 36, verse 9, the 6th aliyah.
Baruch
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach. Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ve'ele toldot Esav, Avi Edom, Bahar, Seir. Ele Shemot, Bnei Esav, Eliphaz, Ben Ada, Eshet Esav, Reuel, Ben Basmat, Eshet Esav, Vayihiyu, Bnei Eliphaz, Teman, Omar, Tzfo, Vakatam, Uknaz, V'timna, Hayatafi, Legesh, Eliphaz, Ben Esav, V'teled Eliphaz, et Amalek, Ele, Bnei Ada, Ele Bnei Ada, Ele Bnei Ada, Eshet Esav.
Was that the end? Yes, that's the last bit. That was it.
Eshet Esav.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et Torato et Torah emet v'hayei olam natan b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Harav Shlomo ben Shmuel.
Harav Shlomo ben Shmuel.
V'soivel Devorah. V'soivel Devorah.
Soivel Devorah. V'alya
Shvi'it.
Shvi'it.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm Rabbi Solomon Grunwald. I'm taking this Aliyah on the occasion of my half birthday. I was born on May 21st, and November 21st is my half birthday. It also was my son Kobe's birthday. So we always marked that together, and he marked his half birthday on my birthday, and he would be 17 tomorrow? 17 tomorrow. So we're going to go out for dinner tomorrow night and celebrate, as we always do on his birthday, by doing something that he would really love. And we're also going to go to Meow Wolf. So we're going to have a nice time celebrating Kobe's birthday tomorrow. And I take this Aliyah in memory of him. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Hanem V'rach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ele b'nei Reuel, Nachat v'zarach, Shama u'mizah. Ele hayu b'nei Basmat, Eshet Esav. Ve'ele hayu b'nei Ahalivama, Bat Ana, Bat Tzivon, Eshet Esav. V'teled le'esav et Yeush v'et Yalam v'et Korach. Ele alufei b'nei Esav. Ele alufei b'nei Esav. B'nei Eliphaz, B'chor Esav, Aluf Teman, Aluf Omar, Aluf Tzfo, Aluf Kenaz, Aluf Korach, Aluf Gatam, Aluf Amalek, Ele Alufei Eliphaz, Be'eretz Edom, Ele B'nei Ada, Ve'ele B'nei Reuel, Ben Esav, Aluf Nachat, Aluf Zerach, Aluf Shema, Aluf Mizah, Ele Alufei Reuel, Be'eretz Edom, Ele b'nei Basmat, Eshet Esav, Ve'ele b'nei Ahalivama, Eshet Esav, Aluf Yeush, Aluf Yalam, Aluf Korach, Ele Alufei Ahalivama, Bat Ana, Eshet Esav, Ele b'nei Esav, Ve'ele Alufeihem, Hu Edom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Thank you.
Misha Berach Avotenu B'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel. May the Holy One of blessing continue to bless you and your family as you continue to connect Kobe's life to your life and continue to keep that memory alive and changing the world every day. And we say,
Amen. Thank you, brother. Okay, we're going to call upon, we're going to do Hagba and Glila. Yeah? Who's got Glila? Who's doing Glila? Okay, great. Come on forward. Thank you. And thank you again to Scott Miller for laning this morning. Yashkoach. Yamdu amagbia v'hagolelet. Please rise.
V'zot Torah asher Moshe B'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai Yad Moshe.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. לבה בוי קוריו קורונג'י בוי קוסניוסה, הבלו גנדה או קוטולן. Laba bwe kulyo kulunji bwe kusanyusa, haba uganda okutula. Hine matov umanahim, shava achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanahim, shava achim gam yachad.
Page 183.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkar Shemo levado.
Hodo eretz v'shamayim v'yarem kerem v'yamo. Tehila lechol chasida lifnei Yisrael am kerovo.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Mizmor le David, היא למחזיק עמה בתומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם.
You can have a seat. And Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Those of you joining us at home as well, you can get comfortable. We're going to do a little bit of Torah learning together and a little some words of Torah. And those of you at home are welcome to gather together with those with whom you are to this morning and follow along and learn together. We're going to focus our attention back at the beginning of the Parsha to the journey that Yaakov has been on for over 20 years after having fled from his brother Esav, from whom he took or acquired the birthright and the blessing of his father through deception, through plotting, along with Rebekah, and he flees, of course, because Esau is furious with him, murderously angry with him. At least we presume so, though we never really learn that Esau pursues him. But Jacob spends 20 years with his uncle Lavan. He marries Rachel and Leah, and also has two concubines, Bilhah and Zilpah, and they are now returning to the land that God had promised, to the land that becomes Israel, and with a whole lot of wealth and property and children. And now he's on the precipice of the banks of the Jordan River, actually of the Yavok, a stream that connects with the Jordan, and will be confronting his brother Esau once more after 20 years. And I want to paint a picture of this because then we have a moment that takes us into a kind of slower motion, right? Through that whole journey, Jacob prepares to meet Esau and sends gifts ahead to Esau. He sends waves of emissaries to sort of scope out what the situation is, kind of get a read on Esau's mood, I guess, and see if some gifts won't placate him. But the messengers return with a message that Esau is approaching with 400 men, which Jacob interprets to be an aggressive stance from his brother. So we find Jacob on he sends his whole household ahead of him, and we all of a sudden come upon a verse that is quite abrupt. So if you take a look at page 174 in the Stone Chumash, and if you're at home, we're on chapter 32, verse 23. We're just going to jump into the scene. But he got up that night and took his 2 wives, his 2 handmaids, his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Yavok. And when he took them and had them cross over the stream, he sent over his possessions. V'Yaakov levado, v'yivater Yaakov levado, v'yavek ish imo ad olat hashachar. Jacob was left alone. Jacob remained behind, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Just like that. right? I mean, if you were going to stage this or put it in a film, we have an abrupt scene change here, right? So he sends his children, his family ahead. It says, Vayivater Yaakov levado, he was left alone, and just like that, he's wrestling with a man. A man wrestles with him, an ish, right? Just as like before, when Jacob was fleeing Esau, we read that all of a sudden the sun goes down abruptly, unexpectedly, before he thought it should. It gets dark, and all of a sudden he's in a dream. And here, all of a sudden, he's in a fight with an other. What is going on here? Let's read just a little bit more, and then I'm going to ask you all to help unpack this scene. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. When he perceived that he could not overcome him, he struck the socket of his hip. The pronouns here get a little bit tricky. Who's the he in every as this goes on? But it seems that it's the stranger who strikes Jacob's hip. So Jacob's hip socket was dislocated, and he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for dawn has broken." And he said, "I will not let you go until you bless me." The traditional reading of this is that this is Jacob who says, the other who says, "Let me go." And Jacob says, "I will not let you go until you bless me." He said to him, "What is your name?" And he replied, "Jacob." And he said, "No longer will your name be Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with the divine and with man and have overcome." Then Jacob inquired, and he said, "Divulge, if you please, your name." And he said, "Why then do you inquire of my name?" And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen the divine face to face, yet my life was spared. The sun rose for him as he passed Penuel, and he was limping on his hip. And therefore the children of Israel are not to eat the displaced sinew of the hip socket to this day, because he struck Jacob's hip socket on the displaced sinew. I think it's the sciatic nerve area, right, of a cow, which is a really interesting little aside here, which we could spend a whole lot on, why there's this narrator, why the narrator interjects that a point of kashrut here. But I think it does, we can get into the metaphor and why the hip and why this symbolism. But let's unpack it a little bit. So let's back up and get back into the mindset of Jacob. All of a sudden, he's alone. He is in the dark and wrestles with a mysterious ish. It doesn't say a malach. It doesn't say an angel or a messenger of God, but an ish. So the first question is, who is this ish? Who is this man, and why is he wrestling with him? Any initial thoughts? And I could use a little help if somebody would help hand out some pages. I meant to do that. Thank you. Maybe one per a couple of people, or there's 40 copies and maybe a little bit more than that in the room. So who is this man? What is he? Who is he? What is going on in this very quick but dramatic scene? It's not so quick. Then it goes on throughout the night. He wrestles throughout the night. Any thoughts? Who could it be? It could be part of himself, right? It could be a projection of the self, right? Or a reflection. Or maybe, I don't know, how do you describe it? You're a filmmaker. Tell us how you would stage this.
An unreconciled part of himself.
An unreconciled part of himself.
That connects to his struggle with his brother.
Okay, that connects with the struggle with his brother. And I'm repeating sometimes for the people at home. Anyone else? Pick up on that. What do you think? Yes, please.
Maybe his new kind of anointed position with God versus his human needs or his previous human kind of life goals and what he wants.
So maybe it's a confrontation with God. Is that what you're saying? That
Within himself, trying to, where his kind of human,
Yeah, this is a transformational moment, right? Where obviously he gets a new name, a new identity. He's the one who wrestles with God and man and prevails. He's been through this metamorphosis process for over 20 years. It starts with the dream. These are kind of bookends, the dream of the ladder and the angels, and now the wrestling with the other, or the self, or with God. And it's in this wrestling and in this transformation from Jacob's life has been the heel. He is Yaakov, the one who's always an impediment. He's always figuring out a way to connive and bargain and work his way around people and systems and succeeds. And now he's on the other end of it, and he comes to this confrontation with the other, and it transforms him, right? It literally changes his identity, though not entirely, because Jacob goes on being Jacob, and at times he's Israel. He now takes on two identities, actually, not really a different identity. Let's say a little bit more. What is this? Let's talk about the struggle. What is this struggle, this wrestling with the other? Yes, please.
One thought I had that supports your contention that he's wrestling with himself is that it says that he wrestled with him until the break of dawn. And anyone who's ever wrestled knows that that's pretty much impossible. Someone wins.
Yeah.
So you'd have to have an equal. So who is your equal besides yourself?
Yeah, that would be, that would indicate that this is, he's equally matched. So it must be, it could be a projection of himself, and it does. It seems to end in a draw. There seem to be grappling with one another, embracing one another, holding one another in a kind of, I imagine like a wrestling lock, a way that wrestlers will kind of get locked in with each other. And that's the moment that Jacob says, the angel says, let go of me, or the other says, let go of me, and he says, I won't let you go until you bless me. So let's talk about the blessing, or whatever you want to talk about, Rabbi.
Well, the way you're phrasing this makes me think he thinks he's about to go wrestle with his brother. But maybe the real wrestle is his wrestle with God. And so this is happening because he's got to get straight with God. Yisrael, he's got to get straight with God. So that's
Yishar El is another interpretation, right? Yishar El, the one who is straight with God, who's, right? I mean, we have to, thank you.
Because that's not, often in life we think our struggle is with something over here, but it's really something in here.
Yeah, it is. And we're running a little short on time, so I'm going to go into the Rashi here and into some closing words. Rashi here, this is the medieval commentator Rashi, he says on the words, and Vayavek Ish, that we're not going to get into all the context here. He cites another contemporary, and he says that this is related to the word avak, meaning dust, because they had a dust up, literally. But then Rashi says, I believe, however, that it is a term meaning that he attached himself, and it is an Aramaic expression. This is a bit of a stretch, but it's not uncommon in rabbinic interpretation that he's going to read this word a little bit against the grain and read it with Aramaic in mind. Da'aviku, meaning to be bound to, right? In modern Hebrew, devek is glue, and lidvok is to bind or to stick to. And so he says they became attached, and he would tie it. No, that's just the context there. And so it is the habit of two people who make strong efforts to throw each other down, that one embraces the other and attaches himself to him with his arms. Our rabbis explain that this was the prince or the angel of Esau. Right? In this wrestling, there's a fine line between wrestling and embracing. Right? And I have twins, Hannah and Micah, since they were little, not so much anymore, but they were like little puppies all the time. All the time, just on top of each other, wrestling, fighting, embracing. And you guys know it too. It's like a constant thing. You can't tell the difference between wrestling and embracing. when they're loving each other and when they're fighting with each other. This confrontation with Esau and with himself is also a kind of struggle, but also an embrace. And that's the challenge, I think, just to kind of wrap it up, to bring it to the moment. I think we're once again encountering people, encountering ourselves, coming out of this pandemic world and out of a really fractured period in our lives. Once again, confronting the other, and there's discomfort there, and there's something also internal that's going on there, examining why the discomfort, right? And in that process, an embrace and a wrestling, right? And that's where the energy comes from. That's where the relationship comes from, where community comes from. It's not always easy. It's a dance of both tension and disagreement and different ways of being and different ways of seeing and different ways of knowing. And yet the beauty of that wrestling and embrace is where relationship comes from. Yes, I'm going to give you another couple words and then we're going to close off.
One other interpretation might be kind of how we struggle with social media sometimes, where especially our youth are trying to get feedback from social media, magazines and other things. And they kind of go back and forth. Am I trying to live more towards God's feedback or Hashem's feedback or the feedback from these external?
Yeah, where do we get our validation? That's an interesting take on it too. I'm getting the signal that we've run out of time, and then we have to wrap up because the other service I think has ended. Yes, Rabbi.
I'll just give you one line. Edwin Friedman said, "Watch out, cut off is fusion."
Cut off is mutual?
Cut off is fusion.
Cut off is fusion. I'll think about that one a little bit more.
Cut off from others. Be careful.
Oh yes. Well, in our fighting, we insist on being in relationship, right? I mean, whenever we fight with someone, it's because we're invested in the interaction, in the relationship. What's up, Lisa? That's fine. We'll catch up with them. There'll be plenty of food left. Right. So, yeah, bank those this week. We're going to wrap up now and conclude our service with 204, Ein Keloheinu, right?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Did we do the Kaddish one? Yeah.
No, we already did that, yeah.
204.
Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Nunca nuestro Dios, nunca nuestro Señor, nunca nuestro Rey, nunca nuestro Salvador. Mi Keloheinu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kemalkeinu, mi Kemoshienu, Ein como nuestro Dios, Ein como nuestro Señor, Ein como nuestro Rey, Ein como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, lo haremos nuestro Dios, lo haremos nuestro Señor, lo haremos nuestro Rey, lo haremos nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendicho nuestro Dios, bendicho nuestro Señor, bendicho nuestro Rey, bendicho nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador. Atahu Shetiru, Avoteinu, Levanecha, Torah Nasamim, Yai-la-la-la-la, 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 Yai-la-la-la-la.
We we rise for Aleinu, page 205, followed by Mourner's Kaddish.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latek tula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu k'glei haratzon, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamona, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שם שמיים ויסד ארץ, כמו שמקרב השמיים ממעל ושכינת זבד. תורתו וידעת יאמר השבות הערב והחשב. כתוב בתורתך אדוני מלך לעולם ועד. ונאמר
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Mourner's Kaddish is on page 207. We invite mourners here and at home to remain standing, as well as those for whom it is your custom. Page 207. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba be'alma divra kirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'agala u'vizman kari ve'imru amen Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'me'om maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma ve'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. You can have a seat briefly. I do encourage you to check your service guides for upcoming programs and events, and if you're at home, to check out our website. I want to draw your attention to a very special program coming up. You might remember Eitan Cantor was our scholar in residence just before the pandemic started. We had him out here, and that was supposed to be one of 2 visits, along with 2 visits from Deborah Sachs-Mintz. So Eitan is finally coming back to our community the weekend of December 17th. We have a bunch of wonderful programs, musical offerings all around that weekend. And then later in February, Deborah Sachs-Mintz will be here, which is going to be awesome too. And keep an eye out for more musical programming this winter as we start to think about our musical leadership in the future. This is a wonderful time for us to engage with musical energy. And check out the back of your service guide for upcoming programs and classes. And I think that's good for, and please make a date for coffee with me. I'd love to have coffee with you. I'm up to number 30, I think, this week. I have about 5 or 6 a week, so I'm booked up now into the end of January. So get on the calendar, and I'd love to have coffee with you. So let's conclude our service, and then we'll go into Kiddush. And I want to wish you, on behalf of our davening team and everyone here, a Shabbat Shalom.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei Tel ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.